got that coaching voice too, so I don't know if I necessarily need the mic. So, but thanks, Mike. Talking about Kiwanis, we were just talking a little bit ago, and I know it got mentioned about the Kiwanis lights and what a great project that is, and certainly our women's team has done that since I've been here, probably before I've been here, and helped out with that. We have a sign in there as it's going toward our locker room down at the event center that says, to become a champion, you need to approach academics like a champion, you need to behave socially like a champion, you need to play and practice like a champion. And then the last one says, and you need to be of service to others. And we always try to get our players involved when anything comes up. A lot of our players do it on their own, and we find out about it later. That makes us very proud about how we contribute our time and to the community, and it's such a tremendous thing down in the. Gotta get closer.
No, I'm just going to see if I can get you in the view.
Oh, okay. You stand over here.
No, it's just a Mary is showing here. I thought we get you there, but.
I'm saying for us helping out down there this year to put up lights, I was a little bit nervous myself of being there. I think it was it last year, Mike, or 2 years ago, I think. It was like we were putting up lights. It was really cold out there. I was helping put up lights, and not sure who I was working with, but I got my thumb stapled to the building. So I had to just go to the medical tent there and get a staple pulled out of my thumb. Fortunately, I'm still not hanging up there, but interesting experience. So, but anyway, it's great to be here. It's been an exciting year. I know Mike said I brought something with me. I was telling him earlier, I said, he thought it was my gold medal from 1980. I said, actually, I brought my gold medal from the pickleball senior games that were held here. Thought out with the old in with the new. I mean, the other one's 42 years old, so, but no, I'll send this around in a bit. Obviously something tremendously proud of it. What a great, I mean, still thinking back all that time ago, how fortunate I was and lucky I was to be a part of that. And what a thrill it was. I can talk a little bit about that too. I thought I'd also, talk about our team this year at Minnesota State, where it's, actually, I just came here from practice. We practice in the morning now. Our semester has ended at Minnesota State, so we have a week of practice. We play at Bemidji State University this coming weekend, our last 2 games before we get a short break here for Christmas and come back around New Year's. It's been as interesting a season. My 7 years that I've been here, this has been as interesting a season and a different season than we've had in the past. Late this fall, one of our girls got selected for the U.S. women's national team, Anna Wilgren, who's from Hudson, Wisconsin, and she's been a 2-time captain for us, and she was going to be our senior captain this year. And she got invited to the women's national program with a chance to be on the Olympic team that travels to Beijing, China in February. And she's just practicing and playing with them and fighting for a chance to make that team. So we lost her before the season started. 2 games into the season, Jamie Nelson, who was the rookie of the year in the league last year, it was the first time that Minnesota State University has ever had the rookie of the year in the women's league. And she hurt her knee and is now redshirting. She's out for the year. And I thought those were big problems for us, but not the one we had about 4 weeks ago, when in the course of 1 week, all 3 of our goaltenders got injured. We had one of our girls, our second-string goalie, had hip surgery and was out for the year. So we went to play at St. Cloud. This was like 4 weeks ago. We went to play there in St. Cloud, and we started our starter, our top goaltender, after the second period, and told our trainer that she got hit in the head, and he thought she had concussion symptoms. So she went out, and we put our third-string goalie in for the third period. She told us after the game that her knee was bothering her. She ended up getting knee surgery on that Monday. And with our top goalie having a concussion, we had no goalies for practice for a week. We put shooter tutor, the board up on one end so our girls could shoot at that. And our equipment manager knew a guy that was going to school at Minnesota State that had been a goaltender. He came out and practiced with us for that week, so we'd have one goalie in net. A couple of my girls came up to me, or a couple of my freshman girls that lived in the dorm, and said, "Coach, if we need a goalie, we met this girl who's a freshman here. She plays on the Minnesota State University tennis team, but she played goalie. We played with her in the summer, and she'll come out if you want her to come out." So I contacted the tennis coach. She plays second singles on the tennis team at Minnesota State. And she played at Litchfield High School, goaltender. So we had to have a big powwow. We had the tennis coach, we had Kevin Weisman, we had Lori Meyer, and me and our trainers, and talking about her because obviously, and for good reason, the tennis coach is looking at our team going, "I don't want her playing goalie for you because all your goalies get hurt." So we said, "Ryan, no, she's not going to play. She won't play. She's when Califranc, our starter, comes off COVID protocol, or I'm sorry, concussion protocol, she'll play. So we just need somebody to back up Calla. Now Calla could get hurt, and she could play, but she's not going to play." The next week, Avery Stillwell was her name. She had 2 half-hour practices with us and 1 full practice on a Wednesday. We were leaving on Thursday to play at Ohio State, the number 2 ranked team in the country. And our trainer came in and said, "Calla didn't pass her concussion protocol." "Okay, Avery, you're starting at Ohio State." We go to Ohio State. And I'm telling you, I'm one of those guys that I watch when they introduce starting lineups. I watch the players come to the blue line, and I'm going, "Man, they look a lot better than us coming to the blue line for starting lineups than our players looking." Avery was playing, honest to God, she was playing with Dryden McKay's, the goaltender from Minnesota State. She was wearing his old equipment from last year. She was wearing his pads, wearing his mask, using his blocker and catcher. And she's out there playing against Ohio State. She made 48 saves. 48 saves the first night. We lost 6-3, but she played tremendous. And the next night we got beat bad. She ran out of gas. I mean, she had not played goalie since she played in her high school season the year before. And I'll tell you what, I just got to tell you one other story about her that was really cute. Although she also became like a rock star. I mean, everybody wanted to know about her, and she had got a lot of press, and our team certainly got a lot of press from that too, that she had a chance to play for us, that this tennis player came out of the student body and played goal for us in a Division I game. But it was really cute after the game on Saturday night. After each game, we give out what we call we have a purple heart, a stuffed purple heart, and we give it out to the people that we felt made the biggest contribution to that particular game. And so each time we give that to somebody, then they present it to the next game, to the next player that they felt has gone above and beyond duty on the ice. So of course, our team gave it to Avery Stillwell Friday night after our 6-3 loss. And this is how little Avery knew anything about our team. So after the game on Saturday, I said, "Well, Avery, you need to present this Purple Heart to our outstanding player for this game." And she was holding this and kind of looked around and said, "Well, I don't know everybody's first name on the team." And here she was playing with us, but she goes, "I think it's Claire." And we go, "Yeah, it's Claire. You got that right, Avery." So she was still trying to figure out who her teammates were and was playing for our game. But so we got our starter back. The last 4 games she's had a chance to play, and we've won all 4 of them. We're on kind of a small winning streak here with 4 wins. And as I said, we go to Bemidji this weekend with a good opportunity here to finish the season on a good note and go into the new year on on a good streak. So we're excited about that. It's been a ton of fun. It's, for me, my coaching career, I mean, I lose track of the years. It's been high school, it's been Division III hockey, it's been Division I hockey, men's. I coached in Europe for 3 years, which was a tremendous experience. I had a chance to scout a little bit professionally for the Colorado Avalanche in the National Hockey League, and here this opportunity is 7 years already. I've been in Mankato, and it's just, time has flown by, and it's, I remember coming here and interviewing for the job, and of course, when I go, why do you want to come and coach women here at Minnesota State University? And I think one of the reasons I gave them, because I haven't coached women yet, and I've coached just about everybody else. So, but it's been a tremendous experience. I tell people all the time that it's a really a different experience. Girls are different than guys, and but they keep you smiling. And it's so fun to work with them because they want to get better. They want to get better at what they do. They want to be successful, and they're so dedicated to the sport and to their conditioning. And that's what really makes it fun. Whether we win, obviously we want to win, but we don't always. But I mean, that's what makes it fun and rewarding for me, is when I see they have success and how excited they are when things really go well for them. So it's been tremendous. It's been really great. As I said, for me, it's been a long coaching career. I mean, certainly when I played college hockey and then on the Olympic team and on the national team a couple of times, I got an opportunity to play for tremendous coaches, and that's what helped me a ton. To become the coach. There's so many different ideas that I've learned, but also how much it's changed over the years, the 30-some years that I've been coaching now, that it's really changed in how you have to approach players. I always think back to Herb Brooks and coaching on the Olympic team, where, at that time, coaching was pretty much, run through this wall, and you ran through the wall. And now it's, certainly as things have changed to that, when you ask somebody to run through the wall, they want to know what the wall is made of. They want to know what's on the other side. They ask you to do it first, and then they say they'll do it. And they ask you how it feels after you've done it and before they do it. So there's a lot more questions in coaching, and coaches have to have a lot more answers and a lot more, instead of, hey, you're going to do this, it's here's why we have to do it. So it's been a good learning experience for me to do all that. Coming up, I have to say, I've also, along with coaching Minnesota State University here this year, I've also been able to help out with the U.S. National Women's Program. I evaluate at their camps, and I'm part of their selection group for their team that will go to the Olympics. It's certainly a thrill for me to be able to do that. I mean, having played in 2 Olympic Games myself, that was never in the plan for me. I would have never thought in 1980 that I might play in 1984 as well. But I had that opportunity, and we played in Sarajevo, Yugoslavia, and it was as great an experience, although it wasn't the same result. It was just a tremendous experience, and to say I've had a chance to play on 2 Olympic Games is a thrill of a lifetime for me to be able to do that. I told Mike I brought this with. I pass it around, and I think the last time I did this, I maybe have done this, but you can all take a look at that if you want. All our Olympic medals are always designed by the organizing committee that's running the Olympics, so they're always a little bit different. Mine has a little dent on the bottom. I think it got dropped one time, and then it's kind of pivoty on the top here. I gave it to my next door neighbor when I lived in St. Cloud when I was coaching at St. John's University. He wanted to bring it to his Bantam hockey banquet. So for some reason I said, okay. And I don't know, I think it got dropped and the top kind of broke a little bit. So it's kind of pivoty on the top. So keep an eye on that. But maybe if you get a chance to look at that, you can pass it around right there. every once in a while go, hey, where is that thing? So I see John Kine sprinting out the door back there. I'll know like, hey. So, but I don't know, like it's easier for me, when I talk about that. Olympics are always interesting to people and stuff like that, but it's easier for me to take questions. I don't know if anybody has a few questions. I don't know how much time we have left, but a few minutes. So I don't know if anybody has any questions they have that they would like to ask me about it. What about Minnesota State University or Olympics? Yes.
Talk to me about recruiting women at the current time. I know there's this portal issue that's floating around college athletics. Sounds like in the men's area, a lot of them come from, they don't go directly from high school to college, they play some other types of hockey. So on the women, where do you get your players? How do you recruit?
Oh, he's asking questions about how we recruit players to Minnesota State University, women hockey players, and also with the transfer portal, where now players can just go on the transfer portal and immediately be eligible to play somewhere else. It used to be everybody, you had to sit out a year if you went to another school. They made you sit out a year before you could play, and then now they can go right away. But yeah, for our recruiting is really kind of different. I mean, it's difficult because you can't make your team an experienced team right away like you can in men's hockey. In men's hockey, almost all the players that come to college hockey have played some form of junior hockey, 1, 2, sometimes even 3 years of junior hockey, and they're older players. They can get players that are coming in that are 21 years old as a freshman. And I always remember when I coached men's hockey that saying like, yeah, that's a big difference between an 18-year-old freshman and a 21-year-old freshman, but it's a bigger difference being an 18-year-old freshman against a 25-year-old senior, and you're playing against men. So we don't get that. We get all our players right out of high school hockey, or we get them out of club hockey. There's around the country. Minnesota has the best, I mean, by far, high school girls hockey than any other place in the state. I mean, everybody recruits Minnesota high school girls hockey. But there's also club teams in the Midway, in the Detroit area, Chicago area, out east. There's all club teams too, where we also recruit. Matter of fact, I mean, that's where we've gotten some of our players. We have 2 girls from New York that are on our team, 2 from Michigan, 3 from Wisconsin, and 2 from California that are playing for us. And they've all played club hockey, those girls that have played in other areas. So, and it's tough in our league. It's really difficult. You know, when we have the 3 Division I schools, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Ohio State, Duluth, which has had a tremendous history of championship hockey. It's hard to recruit. It's tough, and it's a tough sell, but we're making progress, and we've gotten some over the last 3 years. We've had players on the all-WCHA team each year. As I mentioned, we had the rookie of the year, or the freshman of the year in the league last year. So those type of things really help, because other players or young players that are looking at places to play see that progress, and there's ones that want to be a part of that. And that's what we're trying to find, is the ones that we want to be a part of building that program. So it's tough, but my assistants do a great job. Jeff Geeson and Sherry Dickerman do a tremendous job of recruiting and getting them on our campus. And certainly with our campus and with our facility downtown, we're not in second place to anybody in those areas. We have great facilities, and that helps us in our recruiting. So, yes, sir.
John, what was it like playing for Herb Brooks?
Hard. It was tough. Herb was a tough coach. He was really a tough coach, and he was, I think, I would say a coach that I mean, kind of specialized in negative reinforcement. You know, I mean, like, he could get on you and pick you out. I think all of our players on our 1980 Olympic team would say that the worst thing that could happen was you get caught one time with just Herb by himself, because he could lecture pretty good. I'll leave it at that, lecture, but he could give you a pretty good talk. But he was, I'll tell you what, he was a coach that had ideas in his mind of how he wanted the game to be played, and really believed in those. He wasn't going to change his mind on how things should be played or how he wanted us to play. And I think that's what was a big part of our success was his ability to see that, like what he had on the team and what he thought we could accomplish, and that he stuck to that plan through our whole year that we were together and playing exhibition games, that he was that way. And I know he was, boy, he could get after you and really kind of dress you down pretty good. But I'll say this about him. I know, I remember in the locker room at times, you know, I mean, if you just made eye contact with him, I remember sitting there and I was between a few. I played at Duluth, and there was the only two Division I teams in the state at that time were Duluth and Minnesota. So we were little brother up there north, you know. So anytime I made contact with him, it's like, oh boy, here we go. And he started just Harrington. Yet, so I wouldn't send my son to Duluth. It was the last college on earth. I mean, we 23 in a row. They had some long winning streak before we beat him when I was a senior. Yeah, we'll never, you know, gosh, I mean, 23 years old, and he just this and that, and then he'd walk out the door. And I remember, I don't know if it was Bill Baker or Mike Ramsey, who had played for Herb at the University of Minnesota, turning to me and go, "Hey, John, don't worry about that. Thank God you're only playing him for 1 year. We played him for 4." So, but I'll say, the last thing I'll say about that, I was going to say is that when I was assistant coach at the University of Denver, I recruited his son, Danny, to play for us at the University of Denver. And Danny was a tremendous player, just a better teammate. And we recruited him there. And I think when I got there coaching, or when I was into coaching at Denver, and then when I got the head coaching job at St. John's University, Herb was like a mentor to me. He became like a mentor to me as a coach. I mean, I'd get notes from Herb in the mail, congratulating me on wins or commiserating when we lost and saying, "Hey, you got to get ready for the next game. I'll use that to prepare for the next game." Or I could call him and, you know, ask him questions about what I was doing, and he'd give advice, but he would always say too, "John, you know, you've got to believe in what you do." And the same thing he did in 1980. He would say to me that you've got to believe in what you do. You've been successful with what you've done, and you just got to keep working on that. And selling your players on that this is the way we're going to do it. And so, not to say that you couldn't run into him when he was with his buddies and he could still jab you with the knife a little bit, but and make sure you knew that you were still the player and he was the coach. But he was really important to me. And when I started my coaching career and I was in my coaching career, to bounce ideas off of and to get advice. And he was really a different person as helping me out coaching wise than he was when I was a player for him. But he was tough to play for. Yeah. So, yeah.
Back to the Olympic game, can you talk to us a little bit about what the Russians were highly favored, I think, to win the gold medal that year? What made them so highly favored, and how did the U.S. overcome?
Yeah, well, I think they had been Olympic champions, I think, the previous 4 Olympics, and they're perennial world champions and had beaten the NHL All-Stars the year before in an All-Star game. I think one of the things, you know, we had played them 2 weeks before the Olympics started. We played them in Madison Square Garden in New York, and they beat us 10-3. And I tell you what, it was, for me, it was the first time I had ever played against the Russian national team. And here it was and a lot of our players would say this, that it was hard to warm up because you were looking down the ice going, there's Petrov and Karlamov and Mikhailov and these guys that you'd watch play against the NHL players and beat the NHL players. And now we're on the same ice with them. And I think for at least 2 periods, we were probably still doing that because they went up pretty big on us in a hurry. But I think that was really an important game for us to have played that game. Herb, pretty much after that game ended, pretty much as Herb would do when things didn't go good, he'd pretty much take the blame himself, saying, I didn't have the team ready. So he didn't make it say like our players played lousy. It was like, I did a bad job of preparing him for this game, and really made it feel like, I mean, for us anyway at the time, like we know it's like Herb's going to have us ready the next time if we get a chance to play them. I think that was really important, having played them, to get all of us get a little bit of not comfort, but a little bit of, and knowing what they were like to having to play against them. When we got in the Olympic Games, we had a chance to watch all of their games. Herb kept telling us that, I mean, our average age of our team was under 22 years old. Their average age was around 30. And Herb just kept telling us that we were a younger team and we had better legs than them, that we could skate harder and faster than them for a longer period of time. And, you know, we watched a couple of Russian games. They had to come from behind to beat Canada. They had to come from behind to beat Finland. So as it got to that, where we got that opportunity to play against them, I think, I'm not going to say we weren't going, holy smokes, you know, this is going to be tough, but we were excited to play because we felt that we were playing much better hockey than we played 2 weeks before, and that maybe they were ready to be beaten. So, but to say we weren't nervous, I mean, everybody say like, how were you before that game? I was nervous. Yeah, I mean, but that's what athletics is. I mean, that's a great part of it. That's what makes you play, is that excitement and the anxiety of getting ready for a big game. But so I think just the way the Olympics, that game, having played them before the Olympic Games, and then I think just in the Olympics, how the tournament kind of went for us and the success we had and how we just were gaining confidence in our ability, and just Herb's just continually saying, and when we got to that game, just continually saying, hey, we're better than them, we're younger than them, we can play with them, and just again, just sticking to his guns about how we thought we could play, and it worked out. It worked out. Yeah.
You know, so much of the commentary around that game centers on the Cold War and the big rivalry between Russia during those Olympic Games and things. Did that play into you guys, or was it just simply there was this dominant team that was, you know, and you guys were the underdogs kind of coming in and needing to rise to the occasion? Or was the Cold War and that rivalry playing in?
Yeah, I would say our guys, I think I mentioned, you know, our average age was under 21, you know, a bunch of dopey young guys, you know. I mean, I'll say, I mean, one thing, I mean, we knew, you know, we all were aware of what was going on. I shouldn't make fun of that thing, but I mean, we all knew what was going on in the world, but I think at that thing, I don't think that was any part of our motivation at that time. I mean, it was like, we really have to play well to stay in this game and to be effective right here. But I would say for me, I'll just say that wasn't something that motivated me or the other players either. It was, we were in it was a hockey game for us, and that's what we did. We played hockey, and we're in this situation where we had a chance to advance toward a gold medal if we did well against them. I know after that, for us, it was really a humbling thing for our whole team to see what effect that had on the United States, and just how we, meaning the United States, felt about ourselves, and just kind of some optimism about how things could go because of how well that game went. I mean, we were in Lake Placid. I mean, the dorms we were in Lake Placid were built to become a prison. They're a prison right now. I mean, that was the Olympic Village, where it's a prison now. And so they were just small rooms, and we were. Does that mean I'm done?
Oh.
But I was just gonna say, like, we're like every day, like, and that was out toward like Saranac Lake, about 10 miles out of Lake Placid. So every day we came into Lake Placid, we'd come into Lake Placid, and we'd stay there all day. We'd practice, or we'd play, or we'd watch other games, or we'd watch speed skating or figure skating, because it was right where we were in the arena there. We had no idea like what was going on in the news. We just say, hey, we got a game tomorrow, we'll play a game, we're doing good, this and that. But we had no idea what the press was saying about our team until after everybody got home and was going, whoa, this meant a lot to a lot of people. But we just didn't have that time, or just had the ability to see how it was going. So, but I would say, like, at that, everybody understood what the Cold War was, and kind of the feelings and everything. But I'm not sure that had like any type of motivating thing. It was like, we got to play our butts off here, or it's not going to go good. So we motivated ourselves. So, yeah. Yeah.
So did you go to the movie? Like, it was fun for everyone else to watch. Was it as fun for you to watch, or were you kind of
Yeah.
there on that?
Well, the movie Miracle. Yeah, it's it was good. I like all those movies. The movies they make like that, they're always, I mean, Hoosiers and you know, remember the Titans and all those. They're great. All the sports movies, I don't remember them all, but you know, I think the first time I saw it was funny. We got a chance to go down and see well, I'll tell you two things. One, right after it came out, Dan Brooks, Herb's son, who I mentioned earlier, he called me when I was at St. John's and he said, Coach, I go, yeah, Danny. And he goes, hey, I want you to know, I saw the movie Miracle. I got to see the final edition, you know, and I go, oh, geez, Danny, what did you think? Never forget this. He goes, they didn't make my dad near as mean to you as he was in 1980. That was his first comment on the movie. And then my second favorite comment was we got to go see the premiere at Southdale. I was at Southdale, so they had a group of people that got to come and see that, and they let me bring a bunch of people down. So I called my son. My son Chris was playing at Minnesota at the time for the U, and I said, hey Chris, why don't you bring your buddies over? You know, we can see the premiere of this movie. So my son Chris was there and had a bunch of his teammates from the hockey team sitting in front of my wife and I, and we're watching this movie. So I'm watching it and trying to get the story of the whole thing, and you know, just more so than that. And it ended, everybody's cheering and clapping and everything like that. And my son turned around and I kind of looked at him and go, hey, Chris, what'd you think? You know, and his comment was, Dad, you were never on the power play. I go, thanks, Chris, for that rousing review of that movie. So anyway, there's a few things in there. There's a few things they changed in there. You know, the people, I think, over the years, and most people asked about, yeah, that skating thing. Did you really do? Yeah, we did do that. We did do that skating thing after her snapped and said we're not leaving the ice. They didn't ever said in there, you know, that we played them the next night, and I think we won like 8-2. We beat them the next night after we had just tied them. But yeah, we did do that, and I remember our trainer coming out there and just saying, Herb, they got to play tomorrow night. You're gonna hurt somebody. We got to get off the ice. And I mean, we were there in this rink, and the crowd started cheering at first because they thought we were doing a skating exhibition. And then they whistle, because whistling in Europe is like booing. So they're all whistling because they saw we were getting punished. And then they left, and the arena guy was up there. He turned the lights off. We were in the dark doing stops and starts out there. And Herb was standing out in the middle of the ice. He's going crazy. And yeah, we did that. That happened. I don't remember, like, we didn't hit a moose. I think there's a part there they said that didn't say that the plane hit a moose, but I do remember that we were in War Road. We had played the War Road Lakers, and the plane, we had flown from the St. Paul airport. So we were in I don't know, I'm out of my list, with the two propeller, like a DC-3 maybe, DC something, whatever. I'll just call it that, right? But I mean, I do remember it was taxiing around, and the wing ran into a light post, and he kind of hit a light post, and we had to get out, and we pushed the plane backwards. Like, we all got out and pushed the plane backwards because it didn't have anything pushing or pulling it, you know. So, but I remember that happening up there. But I think the movie's great. It tells a great story, and it's good. I like it, and it's fun to watch, and it certainly has kept so many more, I mean, not so many more, but a lot of generations of other people, you know, you hear about all the time. I hear from my girls, boy, we watch this every time when we're going to a game, you know. And I mean, my players are telling me that, and you know, my son and that, and them when they got a chance to watch it too. So it's fun. It was really good. I think they did a great job. Yeah. So.
Dwayne dropped that on the way in, but that's just a reminder that the Kiwanis Club.
That's what fell out of his hand?
Yeah. Oh. No, it was a it was a quarter. That's what it was.
All right, thanks, Mike.
Thank you, John. Thank you for coming and thank you all for coming. I wanted to mention that next week is our traditional holiday meeting. So it will be here same time. I've asked and they've agreed they'll put together a bit of a holiday meal for us. And I thought because there isn't I thought we should all bring cards and do a card exchange. And I thought, no, it's not good to pass those from one person to another. So instead, what I'm thinking about is perhaps we do something where we have the chance to participate, and by giving either